let's talk more about Kesha, folks. So this is Acid Roots, and I've got Kesha's album Animal, which came out in 2010. So what she's known for is making more electronic and dance style music, usually with the flavor of a night out and just having a good time. But this sort of music, it lasted and it did a good job, but it also, now really realizing 6 years later, it felt kind of short lived. And so Kesha is talented. That's definitely something. This was a sore. We sorely needed this sort of music at about 2009 or 10 or so, and it filled a spot rather nicely. But really, the whole thing is unfortunately, it just felt like folks almost like it just felt like she burnt out quicker than expected. I don't think that's her fault. I don't think she burnt out like she's unpopular now, but where, is this music still being played on the radio? Because there were 4 or 5 singles released from this project. So there's a good chance, depending upon who you are, you're going to know some of the songs from this project. This is not so much supposed to be nostalgia as much as it is supposed to be a revisit or a revamp. So that's what I want to say. I'm not stuck in 2010, but this is accurate to getting back in motion. Now, obviously, if you need someone that she's similar to, I would say someone like LMFAO and David Guetta, Lady Gaga, some of these folks. And really, you're going to notice pretty quickly that she knows how to have a good time. And so the song, as far as the production goes, I like quite a bit of the production on here. A lot. The first half of the album is where all the singles are, so it shouldn't take long for you to find them, and they're good. It's just got a lot of dancing and lots of get going nuts, having a good time. But at the same time, it's not as much fiery as much as LMFAO was. So that's the thing. You shouldn't be able to notice that it's watered down. I don't want to say it's watered down, but this is pretty much about, this is fired up for what it is. It can get worse. That's all I'm saying. But for that, definitely the fact that this album charted as heavily as it did, this is, should become a cult classic and a staple of this decade, which I'm hoping so. We'll see by the time we get to 2019. So yeah, like TikTok, Your Love Is My Drug, blah blah blah, Backstabber. All of these were pretty smooth songs. I like them a lot. You should have. I mean, it feels like they're synths. I don't really know the instruments as well to be able to figure out what they are, but it really sounds like something Lady Gaga would have done back in 2009 or so. That should let you know what you're going to get. It's just dance music. It's not necessarily techno, it has a different type of thing. It's more current, and even though it was 6 years ago, I couldn't really notice that it's that old. The only reason why you should say it's old is just because you're tired of it, because you played it out in 2010. That should be the only reason. But the thing about that is it really that easy to get sick of? Just because you're not at the same point you were when you were 22 or 23, does that really mean, or 30 or whatever, does that mean that this music is garbage now? And I think the answer is no. You can still go crazy to it, so make sure you know that. But the songs, the unheard songs, the songs that you may not have heard but need to take a listen to, I'm going to list the singles as well, because there were 9 songs out of 14 that I liked. So it'd be easier to say the 5 songs I didn't like. Stefan, Hungover, Party at a Rich Dude's House, Dinosaur, and Animal were the 5 songs that I didn't like. Now, the song I was on the fence about, which I think I may like later on, is the song Blind. Now, the 4 singles made it: TikTok, Take It Off, but there were some extra ones. Dancing with Tears in My Eyes, that one just had kind of like a real moody feel, but it was still a pretty good one. Boots and Boys was a late song that I liked real well. Blah, I'm not sure if Blah 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 was a single. Maybe it's Kiss and Tell. Most of these are gonna work. I mean, the pace is kept the whole way through. She does put in some songs after, after the night's over and the next series of nights are over. Where you go from here. But that should, wherever you're at in your life, that should be simple to assess. So it's just, it's got what happens. It's good for spins. I also reviewed Kesha's Cannibal, so know that there's all sorts of stuff. I just found a Kesha album where she did a remix album. I'm gonna review that pretty soon, and that's pretty much where this album stands. So as far as the score, I'm gonna give it, because I like 9 out of 14. I'm gonna give it an 8. That's about this. Maybe one more song would have made it like a 9 or a 9.5, and 2 more would have made it a 10. So it's gonna, I guess 8.5 would be good. And the future Kesha, we'll see what happens. I think a lot of people want her back, myself included. The social score, which is how well it plays around you and a group of people that you're with, I'm thinking that this project probably would be a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9 just because so many songs were heard, and really it's a blast. This is definitely something. It seems to me like it could last longer than a weekend or a couple weeks, probably a good month and a half, depending upon how much you play it. If you play it like mad, obviously it's not going to last that long, but it's pretty good. Definitely. I haven't really done lastability, but so can it be topped? I think the answer is just barely, but this is still rather dope. So I give this album an 8.5 and a 9 social. Subscribe for more fun.